Long ago, in a small village nestled between misty mountains and dense forests, there lived a wealthy but cruel man named Jagan. He owned most of the village's farmland, and though he could have used his wealth to help others, he used it to control them instead. Jagan had a terrible habit. He would lend money to struggling villagers at impossible interest rates, knowing they could never pay him back. When they inevitably failed, he would seize their land, livestock, and even their homes, leaving families destitute. One day, Jagan's greed led him to a widow named Kamala. Kamala was known for her kindness and generosity, though she was poor. She had one son, Raghav, who was just old enough to help her on their small plot of land. This land was all they had, and Kamala worked hard to pay off her debts after her husband had borrowed a small amount from Jagan years ago. However, Jagan saw an opportunity in her hardship and falsely claimed that she owed him much more than what was agreed. Unable to fight him, Kamala was forced to surrender her land.
That night, the villagers gathered to talk about Jagan's cruelty, whispering tales of his wickedness. But no one dared to oppose him directly for fear of retribution. All the while, Jagan feasted in his grand house, laughing at the helplessness of the villagers. As Jagan lay down to sleep that night, he was disturbed by a cold breeze that seemed to seep through the walls. He dismissed it and went to sleep, but suddenly, he was jolted awake by strange sounds from outside. Stepping out, he saw an eerie figure wrapped in a black cloak standing at the edge of his fields. The figure's eyes gleamed, casting an unnatural glow across the fields. "Who are you?" Jagan shouted, trying to mask his fear.
"I am the keeper of balance. You have taken what is not yours, and for that you shall pay." Jagan laughed, thinking it was a prank, but the figure raised a hand, and the ground beneath Jagan's house began to tremble. In seconds, all his crops withered, and the earth turned barren. A deep rumble echoed through the village as Jagan's wealth, stored in gold and valuables, sank into the ground, swallowed by the earth as if it had never existed. Terrified, Jagan pleaded for mercy, promising to return all he had taken. But the figure shook its head. "The suffering you have caused cannot be undone with mere words." And with that, the figure vanished, leaving Jagan alone with his losses. The next morning, the villagers awoke to find that Jagan's fields had turned to barren land, his wealth gone. Jagan, once arrogant and powerful, was left as poor as the people he had tormented. Humbled and broken, he approached the villagers, offering to work on their lands in exchange for food. Though they allowed him to work, they never forgot his deeds. From that day on, Jagan learned the harsh consequences of greed and cruelty. He spent the rest of his life in the village, a humble laborer, with the memory of that night forever haunting him. And the villagers, who once lived in fear, were finally free from Jagan's tyranny, living peacefully once more. In the end, Jagan's story became a warning. In that village, everyone remembered that those who build their wealth on the suffering of others would one day pay the price. Thanks for watching, like and comment, and please subscribe to get notifications anytime I upload new contents.